I would say my spiritual journey really began when I was 14. That's when I went plant-based, I went vegan. That's when I really started to find my deep, profound love for the earth. Around 16 is when I moved to Peru, and that was just a complete disconnect to reconnect. That was like me looking at everything from the external, doing deep shadow work, healing through poetry, healing through community, but also isolation. That taught me a lot about our ancestors and how our ancestors were living in villages and tribes, and how we are so far away from community, which is why so many people are sad. It's really because we're disconnected. Our ancestors constantly were in villages taking care of one another. One of them was cooking, one of them was cleaning, one of them was looking after this child, one of them was weaving this basket. We're constantly supporting and uplifting one another. And so many of us are switched over in our offices 24/7, driving these box cars in boxes. We're just always in a box. And for me, it was about breaking out of that box.
Peace and love, family. Back here with Lana Brook. She's a beautiful spirit I came across on Instagram the other day. You commented on one of the posts, and I went and looked at your profile, and she's pure feminine power, very powerful, but very soft, and modeling that for other women. So I know we live in a very patriarchal and masculine-oriented world, and feminine power often isn't recognized for what it is, but she embodies it so powerfully that I think it would be hearts and eye if anyone saw it. So we decided to get together and learn more about her story and explore some collaborations. So thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. Thank you. Wow. What a beautiful introduction. Yeah, I don't know really how we connected, but we're here. So I'm super grateful to be connecting, to be speaking, to be sharing my magic and my energy.
Yes, and she is actually out in San Diego, which is the birthplace of Dharma Glow. So there's a little synchronicity there. And she puts on her own retreats. You do sound baths, and maybe just share a little bit more about what you do.
Yeah, so I'm an alchemist, and that manifests through me doing purpose coaching. I'm a soul purpose coach, Dharma coach, which is why I felt drawn to just the Instagram was Dharma. Like, not a lot of people know about Dharma nowadays, and Dharma is an essential part of our soul's recalibration. So that was a really synchronistic pull on that end. So I'm a soul purpose coach. I do co-ed retreats, women's circles, sound healings, just really creating sacred spaces of belonging, of remembrance.
Amazing. And I see you also have a retreat coming up in Bali, or they look like maybe even a series of retreats coming up in Bali next year.
Yeah, so I have a retreat in Bali next year of May 2026. It's a Alchemy Goddess retreat. So it's all about working with not only the energy of Mama Bali, but the alchemy within yourself, the alchemy of the land, of the waters, of the temples, using that as a living, breathing manifestation to recalibrate you back to your rhythms. May is springtime. It's a spiritual new year. So it's a sacred invitation to really be rebirthed into yourself, to strip all the stories, the labels, the programming that have been placed upon you and that you've placed upon yourself, to really recalibrate back to your most authentic self.
Sounds very powerful.
Yeah, I'm so excited. My soul is so excited. Bali is just a magical place on its own. And when women rise together to remember in the name of sisterhood, in the name of pleasure and purpose, just magic unfold.
Yeah. I had booked a retreat to Bali 19 and then COVID hit. So the retreat got canceled and I haven't made it there yet. So I still haven't been to Bali yet, but it's definitely on the list. And I feel like next year is the year. But I know from personal experience that to hold the space that you do and to show up with the level of intentionality that you do, it was a journey to get there. And what we like to dive into on these podcasts is what was the journey that you took to become who you are. So I give people 3 minutes and 33 seconds to start with, I was born here. And how did you get to this version of Lana?
Wow, it's more of, yeah. So I was born in San Diego, California, born and raised, currently still established here. My journey, the short story, one could say, is growing up and always being the black sheep of my family, being the odd one, never fitting in, never feeling like I belonged, which really led me to run away from myself, to suppress everything I was feeling because we're taught that it's not okay to feel sad, to bypass it. It's not okay to experience heaviness, grief, that we need to just push forwards, get good grades, go to work, show up as the best mother, daughter, friend, lover, partner as you can. I spent a good amount of my life running away from myself, which manifested in substance abuse, eating disorders, suicide, depression, all of that deep, deep alchemical work. And when I was about the age of 16, I left the school I was going to move across the world to South America. I had this call to I was chasing a sense of home and belonging, and I found a small village in the mountains of Peru in Umasbamba, a village of 200 people, no phone service, like totally off grid shit. And like for someone like me that likes to get all like dolled up, it was completely out of my comfort zone. And that's when I really began doing this deep healing work, was when I was isolated from everything. They spoke Quechua. I know Spanish. But even then, there was such a language barrier. I was so authentic and vulnerable. It was like my truth fucked me wide open in those mountains of Peru, just being in isolation and really forcing myself to witness and to really emote, embody, and express everything that I was feeling. Because we can only run so far away from ourselves until we run into ourselves. And once I full circle finished my time in South America, I came back to San Diego. I started my apothecary, Mystical Roots, which was a luxury, non-toxic lifestyle beauty care apothecary. And I saw how I was still tying my productivity and my worth to what I was producing. So I sold that. And that's when I fully stepped into the embodiment of who I am nowadays, is really just guiding other beautiful souls to remember that your pain is a portal. A big part of my journey is Kalima. And for those of you that don't know, if you don't know Dejan, Kalima is this sacred goddess of rage. She's like this blue, in Hinduism, she's depicted as this blue goddess with her tongue out. She has a sword in one hand, she's got a man's head in the other. And she's essentially the destroyer of all things that are not in service to your higher self. And she's also such a beautiful aspect of the divine feminine, of this universal mother. And she's manifested from the anger of this like motherly love of, I can't stand to see you walking away from your purpose. So I'm going to come in, I'm going to strip you bare of all the illusions, all these ties, everything that is not serving you. So that way you can flourish into essentially who you are meant to be. So she's been a big part of my journey in really returning back to my wholeness, my truth, knowing that all of you is worthy and worthwhile in your beauty, in your rage, in your softness, in your madness, and knowing that it is all just alchemy in motion. So that's a little bit about me. You can find me on Instagram at the Lana Brook if you want to connect there. I guide male and female, all in between, to recalibrate back to yourself, to dismantle everything that's keeping you playing it small, because ultimately God did not put us here to just pay rent, pay bills, have food on the table. We're meant to live this human experience, and enlightenment happens through play. So if you're not able to drop back into the body to experience this beautiful gift of the human experience, then, we're going to continue just walking our entire lifetimes with these blindfolds on. So that is really my purpose, is to recalibrate you back to your purpose, back to your Dharma, to live the life that your soul chose to reincarnate you on this planet as.
Wow, what a powerful story. A lot of that stuff I did not expect, dark night of the soul that you went through, but I've been through something very similar. And I know a lot of people that are in this position of service and soul clarity have been through that. And the pain is the opportunity in the portal for the realignment. So it's a very common story and I get it. And yeah, I just want to just acknowledge your journey and the strength that you've obviously integrated coming out the other side. And I also just feel really grateful because, like I said, like our energies would merge together to meet and collaborate. And I feel like that happens more and more. The amount of people you connect with maybe goes down, but then the quality and depth of connection increases. And when you
Mm,
get to that level, when you're ready to co create with people because you both walked the journey to a certain path, it just clicks in and you're like, okay, same team, let's go. Let's create some beautiful things together.
yeah, there's
Thank you
so
for the
much truth in that. Yeah, 100%. I think just co-creating is one of the most beautiful ways to welcome in a more aligned group of people that we're here to serve. For me, I co-create or I create spaces that one could view as unconventional healing spaces. I am definitely not for the shallow. I don't fuck with spiritual bypassing at all. I'm very straightforward in my ceremonies, as in, we are going to feel everything that's keeping you small. We are going to relive these old stories because a lot of us have these stories from when we were bullied, from when we were abused, from when we were silenced and suppressed that our body's holding on to and that we continue to manifest because our body wants to clear that circle. And when we're able to feel that deeply and release it through screaming, crying, somatics, movement, breath work, is when you essentially are not only clearing that karma, that you no longer have that string that's pulling you in that direction, that little ache, that longing, that desire, that whisper in your heart. You're more trusting and surrendering to go after it because you don't have these old stories keeping you playing it small, holding you back.
I totally get what you're saying. And I also wanted to just ask more questions about your story because you said you were born in San Diego and you're a black sheep of your family. And I definitely was the kind of odd one, the alien one. But what was your experience like? How many siblings did you have? What was the environment you grew up in?
Yeah, thank you for asking. I have a younger brother. It was me, my father, my mother growing up. We were very middle class. My father grew up very poor. My grandmother was an immigrant. But growing up, I always felt as though I had these beautiful figures that were physically in my life, but emotionally, I just never felt connected to them. I never felt connected to the people around me. I never felt like I had a safe space to land, which is a big part of why I am a coach, because I just think back of how much my spirit was just needing one safe place to land, one person to express my pain, to express my dreams, to express my longings, to express everything that I was going through instead of just letting it boil up in the rice cooker. And I grew up in a good environment, but yeah, it just came down to we can have all these external things, but if something within us is not in alignment, if we're not being authentic with ourselves, no matter what we have, it's never going to give us that long lasting exhale, that soul satisfying pleasure. Yeah, I grew up with a little brother. My parents are no longer together. But yeah, it was just beautiful to see the ways that you have to separate sometimes from your loved ones to come back to them. I went to the Middle East this year and I originally had a one-way ticket to Thailand, and this was the shadow aspect in me for sure, of me just going off in my little fairy self and just surrendering to the flow. And it caused a lot of commotion in my family. My father just owned me for a little bit. So I've just always been that sacred rebellion at heart, whether it was me at 12 years old getting high, running away from home, moving to South America on my own, or whether it's just me creating unconventional spiritual healing sacred spaces. That's just a big part of who I am, is just going against what is so modernized and mainstream to fuck shit up in the name of God. In the highest way possible, to really be the one that like slashes through the noise, that like slashes through the ego, through all like these self limitations. So yeah, that's a little bit about what it was like for me growing up.
I love that. Sacred rebel and fucking shit up in the name of God.
Yeah.
Words. I just appreciate that you spoke to the shadow because obviously everyone has shadow, but it's not often that people volunteer what their shadow is or speak to the impact of it. So I just respect you for that. And when was it that you were in Peru? How long ago was that? Because it sounds like that was a time when you had the deepest awakening and then began your integration process.
Yeah, so I say I started my spiritual journey when I was 12. It was obviously through the darkness at first, about, like you said, being the black sheep. I think most of us that are here can categorize as that. Like, obviously, we were like the little weird, wonky ones growing up, or the earthy people growing up, or the hippies, whatever society deems it as. But that is really our superpower.
I love that. Yeah. So when did you come back from Peru? How long ago was that?
Yeah, I came back from Peru about 3 years ago.
Okay.
Mhm.
And I would imagine that you've just been integrating and deepening into the embodiment of what you experienced there since then.
Yeah, a big part for me is the integration. I've traveled to such sacred sites, Egypt, Dubai, Indonesia, Bali, Iceland, doing a lot of past life regression as well. And this year has been a really deep integration year for me. I'm out and about traveling 6 months out of the year. And I was planning to go back to Mama Bali this year, and Spirit had other plans for me, which now I'm like, thank God I didn't go because something even better is in store. But yeah, for me, this year has been a big year of integration. Coincidentally, it's the year of the snake, all about shedding, dying forever to be reborn. So I think we can often get caught up in like the experiences and the revelations and the wisdom and the books and the teachings. But it's like, how much are we actually integrating? Old yogis used to hold one asana pose for a month until they could master it. And it's like we're just so overconsumed nowadays. If like we were to pick one oracle card, I know I'm such like an oracle tarot card girly. Like I love my oracle cards. I'm like, Spirit, tell me all the messages. But it's like, what to begin? Like I am my own living, breathing somatic oracle. And if I were to just pull one card and really choose to master and embody that for the rest of my life, that would be more powerful in itself than me pulling a card every day or every week. Yes, our energy is constantly fluctuating, but it's like, how deeply are we returning again and again to ourselves, again and again to our practices, and again to our embodiment? So, yeah, embodiment has become such a crucial and imperative part of my journey.
I love that. It reminds me of the phrase or the saying, I think, attributed to Bruce Lee, which says, don't fear the man who does 1,000 kicks one time, fear the man that does one kick 1,000 times. Like, same concept as pulling that oracle card. It's just going deeper into the same spot. With our experience that we have, everyone's having a very distinct, unique experience based on how in touch with themselves they are and how present they choose to be and just how self-aware they are. And that totally affects what your holographic projection is.
Mm.
And it's clear that you're consciously creating your reality in the way that you choose. So yeah, just respect on that. And I think it's an inspiration for other people to do the same.
Yeah, and I think a big thing for me was switching from manifestation to embodiment, which essentially manifestation is embodiment. You manifest and create your dream reality through embodying it, through being that living, breathing organism of whatever that is. And I think when you deeply become embodied, you just have this profound trust and surrender for all of life. I know for me, when I was running my apothecary, it was always like I have to do more, I have to hustle. And really, I really witnessed, I'm in my nodal return. So I really witnessed like myself really submit to the hyper masculine tendencies. And for me, it was a lot about creating that spaciousness and separation and feeling that ache, that grief of that door, that portal closing, that chapter ending, and really
Mm.
surrendering into new, profound, deeper trust and surrenderment, and knowing that I've always been a planner girly, super organized, and knowing not everything should be planned to that extent because I need to leave spaciousness for the universe to God to work their magic.
Ashe, got to have that spontaneity and the
Mhm.
flow because whatever
Yeah.
God is creating is even more powerful than what we can imagine or envision. So I feel like the most alignment and joy happens when you align your vision and you are retrieving that pure intuitive guidance, but there also has to be space for surprises and synchronicities like this one.
Uh,
So I'm curious, outside of your spiritual world, I'm sure you're very conscious about all the vibrations and frequencies that you entertain, but what about music? What type of music do you like to listen to or go to shows or concerts?
Wow, this is such a beautiful question. As far as music, I'm very eclectic. I like my tantric music. I like storytelling music. I like mantras. I like kirtan. I like chanting. Sometimes the sacred rebellions in me. I want some EDM. I want some shake ass music, some like Afro beats. So
Mhm.
I just really curate my external reality to become the medicine of what I'm feeling internally. I've actually never been to a festival. That is actually something that I'm calling in because I just love music. I love the frequency of that feminine, that masculine duality. I love human connection. I'm such a fairy. I love just frolicking around and connecting and witnessing everyone, interchanging energies with the people I feel called to go up and connect with. I have such a beautiful community out here and community all around the world that I've built that I'm genuinely so grateful for. I never thought I would have such high quality of beautiful soul sisters, soul brothers, soul mothers, and fathers around me. So my heart is just, yeah, overfilled. I'm very eclectic. I'm a very open portal. I'm a very open book. I will blurt out whatever I'm witnessing, experiencing whatever's alive in me. So I'm not attached to any specific outcome other than just fulfilling my soul's dharma, my prophecy.
That's beautiful. Yeah, it sounds like you have the core frequencies that keep you stabilized and like the vibration you choose, but then you also have these portals to other things. And I think that's a really important thing because we came here to be human and to experience and to just play. So
Yeah.
it's important to be intentional, but it's also equally important to have fun. Because if you're not having fun, then what's the point?
Yeah, a big part of my journey, was just learning to have fucking fun. For me, I've always been so good at getting stuff done, cultivating abundance, being productive, cleaning, whatever. And recently I took two steps back and it was like, whoa, I need more pleasure in my life. I need more play. I need to go out. I like to be in bed by 9, sipping my tea, journaling. So I think play is just such an important part of this human experience and understanding like, our souls are here for a reason. Like if our souls were meant to stay up in the ethers as ascended master gurus, sat gurus, like they would have. But we obviously are here to have fun. So let's like live this experience to the highest, to the vibration, to the highest embodiment possible.
Yes, we came here to be embodied. And I think that's one of the tricks they play on us is making us think that if we abide by certain rules that they set, that in the future we will have some reward that'll be better. And it's no, this is the reward. We were already up there and nothing we do down here changes our essence, but we get to experience things and have the joy of the journey of going from a lower to a higher state. And it's the same joy you experience when you go for a hike or you win an Olympic gold medal, right? Like it takes a lot of discipline and focus and intention to master yourself into a specific form. In the journey of that, it's not like you really care about this piece of gold, right? It's really about the acknowledgement of the journey that you've been on. And I feel like it's the same for our souls. Like we were perfect and then we came into this disassociated state so that we could go on this journey of self-remembrance and self-actualization.
Yeah, I think too, a big thing that I've noticed is we get so caught up in the ethers and the crown, third eye chakra, about everything we have to do, like meditating, having visions, ascension, where it's like we forget the whole purpose, at least for my journey, was coming back to my body. Having like the sacred pleasure practice, really dropping into the body. I think that's the most profound states of bliss that I've experienced is when I'm in my body, just so fully present. And I think something too that I want to touch on, Dayon, is you said is disassociation or like the disillusion, the disembodiment, which is so relevant nowadays more than ever because we have this third arm on us, which is essentially our phones. And as conscious beings, and especially for those of us that are soul led entrepreneurs, and just being a human being nowadays, we're constantly witnessing a million different emotions arise through these portals, these devices, which, yes, they have their duality. There's such beautiful tools and navigation devices, but it's also when we create that separation, we recalibrate back to ourselves, is when you're like, oh, wait, I'm human again. Let me go work out. Let me go for a nature walk. Let me go dance. Let me go just drop back in and undulate my hips. Let me just really have the asana practice. So I think that's so beautiful that you have that awareness of coming back to the body is as spiritual as it can really get.
Yes, I Ashe. And finally, I like to just close out with hearing what an ideal Saturday for you would be like from when you wake up to when you go to sleep, just so I can get a sense of your human journey and what you enjoy.
This is such a good question. So fucking juicy. I like to leave my days up to flow. It really depends what state of being I wake up in. I always have a morning pleasure practice. I integrate a lot of journaling. That is something really sacred for me to really release anything out of my mind into pen and paper. Sometimes my devotional practices look like moving my body. Other times it's stillness. Other times it's lymphatic massage, red light, sound healing. So I think it's just really curating my days as the medicine that I feel my spirit needs that day. I need sunshine. I'm such a sunshine girly. I love water. Water is such a beautiful portal. So my ideal day would be waking up. I love fucking walking. I don't like driving. I'm very grateful I know how to drive and I have a car. I'm a fairy. I just want to fly around everywhere. Just being surrounded in abundance of nature, of water, of pleasure, of human connection, of movement, but also having those moments where it's, I don't know how I ended up here. Like you randomly invited me to come here. I don't know what the fuck I'm gonna do here, but I'm gonna show up because everyone's a messenger from spirit. So I'm gonna show up as my highest self and just see what unfolds. So yeah, just nature has just been such an important part of my journey. I feel like I need nature every day. I live in the jungle. Sometimes I wake up, there's little spiders or little butterflies. I'm like, okay, you can come on me, but I'm 2 feet away, please. So it's just so different, but definitely human connection, nature, having my morning, evening devotional practices, but also not getting attached to the practice itself and making my life the practice, making my life the devotion to God.
Amazing. It's so
Mhm.
powerful. What a beautiful reflection you are. I thank you for your existence.
Thank you for such these juicy questions and for having such this beautiful sacred space and for holding space yourself. And I'm sure I can just tell by the way like the sunshine is radiating on your face, like you're a sun being as well. And it's just so beautiful to see men in their divine masculine, also in their dharma, in their purpose, knowing that it's even more empowering, it's even more juicy, sensual, and orgasmic to be in your purpose because you're doing God's work every moment, every second, every time you wake up and go to sleep.
And in my dark night of the soul, I think what I most got reattuned to is that the highest form of love is service.
Mm.
And for me, that means helping people remember, tap into, and embody their divinity and whatever that looks like for them. And I think up until that point, there were a lot of things that I look for a sense of fulfillment in, whether it was external validation for things I was creating, romantic relationships, substances, or sex, or whatever. But even though those things are pleasurable and they can be wonderful things to experience as a human being, the God shaped hole that exists within us is only filled by being God. And
Mm.
God is the unconditionally loving, generative, giving force. And it's infinitely creative. So for me, being a creator being and creating experiences where other people can expand and I can also be in my mastery and holding space and designing spaces is the highest level of fulfillment. And then when you're able to do that with you or any of the other creators that are part of Dharma Glow, because Dharma Glow is a community,
Mm.
then, what is now created is something I couldn't have done by myself because now your life experience and your mastery is a part of it. and the different combinations you make of people creates infinite permutation. To me, the greatest offering America has made to the world, the greatest contribution is music,
Mm,
because the polyculturalism of American music is so deep. And it's like all these combinations of cultures that previously never even knew of each other existing. And they're now making this new song. It's a banger. And you're like, yeah, we need more of that. So that's just an exemplifier of the vibrational co-creations we can make when we come together in these ways.
beautiful. Yeah. And music is dance. Music is alchemy in motion. Music is sound, frequency. And it's just a beautiful invitation. Like music just hits your soul. So I love that you have that community based off of that. And yeah, how it's Dharma Glow is a community based offering. I think that just really extends to what you're doing and building.
100%. I'm so grateful that you took the time to share your story and connect. And I already felt there was resonance, but I definitely see the potential for co-creations. I'm excited to do something in San Diego or somewhere else that feels aligned and just create some magic with you.
Yes, this was so divine. Thank you so much for creating this container and for inviting me. And yeah, I look forward to connecting with you, your community, and continuing to serve all those that feel aligned.
If you want to just communicate your IG and your offerings real quick.
Yeah, so if anyone listening, I'm gonna spell it out. So my Instagram is the Lana Brook, TheLanaBrooke, the Lana Brook. And in there, you can find my link to your free discovery call. Offer free calls to really see, how I can best serve you in one-on-one mentorship and coaching. I have my Bali retreat. You can send me a DM. The link is also in my stand store. I have beautiful other local offerings, sound healing, cacao, retreats, ceremonies, and I do private retreats, events, and gatherings as well for
Yeah.
those that want that container. So yeah, I look forward to serving your community, and anyone that's listening, please don't hesitate to reach out at any given point in time.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Lana.
Thank you. Thank you.